You need to realize that the school supply shopping doesn't stop after graduation. Because there are actually post-graduation requirements that you will have to or you need to experience in order for you to be better equipped for the real world. And here are things that I wish I knew after I graduated like 2 years ago. And this is actually the real curriculum that nobody gave you when you crossed that stage and got your diploma. Number one is the fear of missing out. Okay, FOMO. Maybe you just finished college and you will probably be preparing for some sort of certification or board exam that is common here in the Philippines. Or perhaps you will be taking a break for a while. Mag-gap year ka muna, magta-travel ka muna, or probably you will jump straight into work right away. Maybe you already have an offer waiting for you. Regardless of the immediate path or action that you will take, you will feel some sort of missing out feeling. Even if pinlano mo talaga na, no, this is the path that I want to take, na ito yung plan ko for my life after graduation, this is what I will do right away. And matagal mo nang pinlano, matagal mo nang inisip, and alam mo sa sarili mo na yun talaga yung gusto mong gawin. Pero pag ginagawa mo na yun and you see other people doing a different thing, especially if those were your classmates, your friends, you will feel like, am I doing something wrong? Am I being too rigid with my life? Am I being too lax? Am I being too free? You will never escape the feeling of FOMO. And even if it feels weird, I want you to know that it is required for you to level up, for you to develop into a different person. One thing that we all try to do is try to suppress it, try to make ourselves feel better by comparing or finding faults in other people, finding faults in ourselves, and just coping up with it in a very negative and toxic way sometimes. The thing is, when we try to suppress our emotions, it comes back even stronger. And sometimes we try to bury that feeling with going on different side quests or trying to distract yourself of what you're actually feeling. You have to feel that feeling head on in order for you to overcome it. You have to let yourself feel free for a moment. Okay, they're doing something different. I'm doing something different. And even if I know in myself na this is what I really wanted, I still feel a little left out. I still feel like I should be doing something different. I still feel like the things that I'm doing are a bit invalid, even though that it is valid. You need to feel that, you need to rationalize that, and you need to move on anyways. The next requirement is imposter syndrome, especially in overachievers or people who are actually getting merits, getting achievements out of their own professional effort. You know, pag sa school kasi when we achieve something, it is expected of us to get Latin honors. It is expected for us to get medals when we really perform well. And that is the structure that we got used to. But in the real world, when, for example, you're excelling at work, you're excelling in that new business, you're excelling at your review center, you just passed your board exams and you just got a really good job offer, you feel like maybe this is not what I deserve. You feel like I'm too young for this. You feel like, who am I? I just graduated. And because walang specific grading system or metrics for, let's say, a new job, your business, let's say you're creating content, there's no clear metrics for that. You feel like when you achieve something, it's not something that you actually deserve. You say to yourself na, what did I do? I just passed a board exam. Parang hindi ko to deserve. What did I do? I don't have any job experience yet, but they hired me at such a high position. Brands reaching out to me. I just started making content, or my content is not even that good. Maybe hindi ko to deserve. And that's completely okay. Again, it is a requirement. You really need to feel that imposter syndrome and realize that, okay, I feel this, but also this is happening to me for a reason. This is happening because I deserve this merit. It will not be handed to me if it is not meant for me. And one of the somewhat cruel irony about this is that when you feel imposter syndrome, that is actually one sign that you're doing something right, that you're meant to be in that place, even if it feels so weird and so unfitting. Next requirement is brain rot and overstimulation. Okay, in the world where technology is pretty much everywhere, regardless of what field you're in, whether you're working a traditional corporate job, even if you're in business, especially if you're a content creator, and especially during your formal education at school, technology is widely utilized. And when we graduate, that brain rot is kind of inevitable because sometimes we mask it for, let's say when you're working a corporate job, you mask it for, let's say, research. Let's say you're working overtime and you really have to be in your laptop, in your computer for a long span of time. Or maybe you're using it as a reward for yourself. You use phone, you use social media during your break time. Whether we like it or not, we will be overstimulated in one way or another. And even if you say to yourself, na, no, this is just for leisure, na, no, this is for work, no, this is for research, your brain subconsciously know if it is really for productivity or if it is for masking something else, if it is done because you are not controlling yourself properly. And when we don't realize this and when we try to normalize this, our capacity to think clearly, to give better judgment, to be more discerning, to be more open-minded is slowly being affected. And you're allowing yourself to be somewhat controlled of technology and not the other way around. So the key here is to distinguish it, to acknowledge it, and to actively work towards preventing it or lessening it. Distinguish rest from avoidance. You have to distinguish productivity from being such a workaholic that you're not being efficient enough, and stimulation from actual input. The next requirement is rejection and heartbreak. And not only romantic heartbreaks, although that is also valid, but what I mean is rejection from the job that you thought you were made for, that you thought you're overqualified for. Rejection from a path that you thought you always wanted. Heartbreak from realizing that you are not made for this certain path anymore, or you don't know what's coming next. Overall, just the feeling of not getting the thing that you thought you wanted or not getting the thing that you thought was meant for you. If you feel like there are a lot of opportunities out there for you that really matches you, that you really think that you are made for, sometimes things just won't click. Maybe the timing, the recruiters are looking for something else. Maybe you just really don't fit the criteria you thought you will. You have to experience that kind of pain because maybe you were used na in school when you study hard, when you pass this test, then you will be promoted to the next level or you will get some sort of achievements. But in real life, the reality is, kahit gaano pa ka-grabe yung efforts na binibigay natin, if it's not really our time yet, or if it's really misaligned, hindi natin napapansin na misaligned pala, it will not be given to us. Even if we work harder than the person that they hired, even if we look more qualified than the person that got the job. Sometimes life is somewhat unfair like that, but you have to learn how to move on or work around it. You were rejected because your current self can't see yet that she's not actually capable or ready for what she is heading into. And don't let that rejection be the thing that will define you forever. And the final, and I feel like the most important requirement, is that you have to actually learn how to create your own blueprint. And with that comes the identity shift. Whether you are continuing into a professional path, one that is aligned to your degree, or maybe you're taking some time off, or maybe you are going to pursue a different path that is beyond the ordinary, you have to learn how to make your own roadmap. You have to learn how to tailor the moves that you will make, the things that you will try to go after based on what you really want, the authentic kind of goals that you really want, and not the one that is heavily influenced by other people, heavily influenced by what you think you should be doing. And I know that privilege is different for other people. Maybe you don't have a lot of room for choice or for options, but you have to realize that in one way or another, you will have to personalize the moves that you will make. You will have to create your own beliefs, your own plans, your own values, and a lot of what you were used to has to change or you have to let go of in order to level up. And with that comes a lot of self-development, self-improvement, and with the rise of those kinds of contents, we will be taught to be delusional. We will be taught to just really believe in yourself and show up and keep doing the thing, keep doing what your future self should be doing. But the reality is, it is kind of hard and really challenging for some of us or most of us to engage in that kind of behavior when we haven't healed a lot of inner traumas, maybe inner conflicts, or we haven't fully realized that we are transitioning into a different kind of person now. And I am all for self-improvement. I am all for following your own pace, but I also want to validate those who are struggling. And you will struggle and you will face challenges one way or another that will require you to level up. Another thing is that the more you personalize your path, the more it is kind of difficult to validate that, because the more it is personal, the more that is different but feels aligned, the less normalcy it has. And when you see other people being successful in the traditional paths or fields that are validated by society, it is kind of hard to trust in the process that you are currently in if it is something different. But you have to build faith. You have to realize that you have to move in order for you to progress. It will only work, or it will only be visible when you have done an honest internal assessment of yourself, of where you really want to go, of what are the things that are still holding you back, what are the traumas or the conflicts that you still need to solve. You have to have radical self-acceptance and self-awareness. When you create your own blueprint, you don't need blind faith. You have to have informed courage that you're choosing something that is really true to you, and at the same time you can support yourself while you're on that journey because you're actively working on yourself. So if you're graduating, if you're figuring out your life, reminder that nobody really gives you a checklist or a standardized plan after, and even if you do have one, or you think you should follow one, that will not guarantee that you will achieve the kind of success that you want. But you have to realize that these are the post-graduation requirements you have to meet or to experience in order for you to realize what the plans or the paths or the actions that you should really be taking, one that is aligned to you. It has been a minute since my last video. I hope you stick around, subscribe, like, or share this post so you don't miss out on any of my future posts. If you're new here, or if you don't know me, or if you forgot who I am Angelica, and here we talk about how we can make our dream lives possible by creating the blueprint for it.